The influx of migrants and overcrowding at the southern border could soon grow dramatically with the end of the Trump-era immigration policy known as Title 42 set for Wednesday. The public health rule was implemented in 2020 in response to the COVID pandemic. Since then, it's prevented more than 2 million migrants from seeking asylum in the United States. 19 Republican-led states attempted to delay the end of Title 42, but on Friday, a federal appeals court denied their request. They could still appeal to the Supreme Court. Joining me now is Krish Omarra-Vignarajah. She is the president and CEO of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service and former policy director for Michelle Obama. Krish, welcome back to the Sunday show. Do you believe the Biden administration is prepared for the influx in migrants that will come after Title 42 ends on Wednesday?
Jonathan, thanks so much for having me back. It is true that we are going to experience some growing pains because obviously this is going to be a significant shift in policy. But I also am optimistic that we will rise to the occasion. It's going to take some resources. It's going to take personnel. It's going to take coordination. What we saw in El Paso this week may be a preview of what's to come. On average, the city has seen about 2,500 arrivals per day. Shelter capacity is strained. We have some border operations as well, and we are certainly seeing that. And that's where it's troubling, right? Around the holidays to see these heartbreaking images of children and families sleeping out in the cold. But that's where it's critical for the administration to continue to build the necessary infrastructure. And officials have brought in an additional 10 facilities online. They're surging 3,500 personnel across the border to focus on processing. We have a refugee resettlement system in place. We've just got to figure out how we make sure that these similar services are offered to an equally vulnerable population of asylum seekers.
I mean, you mentioned El Paso. The mayor there declared a state of emergency in El Paso. What exactly does that mean? Is it a formal legal declaration that opens up more resources to help deal with the emergency, the influx of migrants in that city?
Yeah, I think it's two things. So certainly, as you refer to, it does allow for these local municipalities to access FEMA funding. But it's also valuable to understand that what we are talking about is, an impending humanitarian crisis if we don't act, right? So these families are people who have left the most dire of circumstances. They're fleeing gang violence, war, persecution. Many are traveling with nothing but the clothes on their backs in the wintertime. And so it's about, making sure that they meet the immediate term needs of food, clothing, shelter, but also organizations like mine. We also try to make sure that we're helping asylum seekers in the long term with things like work authorization documents when they're allowed.
I just have to ask, because, with conditions bound to get worse, Krish, once the Title 42 is lifted, is it necessary to continue to uphold this policy, the Remain in Mexico policy?
We certainly don't believe so. Trump and Stephen Miller's strategy at the border was to build both literal and figurative walls, and Title 42 was a key part of this arsenal. They considered it even before the COVID pandemic happened, and it effectively halted asylum law, which is recognized under U.S. and international law, under the pretense of public health. But pretense isn't real policy. Title 42 didn't protect the American people from COVID. It frankly wasn't even effective in what it tried to do, which was serve as a border enforcement tool. So we're going to hear a lot of noise in the coming days about the impending crisis, but it doesn't have to be. And really what it is returning to the rule of law. And frankly, it's consistent with American opinion. The vast majority of Americans believe that asylum should be a protected right. Only a quarter of people believe that these kinds of inappropriate, false pretenses should be employed.
The Republican governors of Texas and Arizona have already bused nearly 17,000 migrants to cities around the country. Remember, buses showing up in Washington, Chicago, New York City, some even flown to Martha's Vineyard. Do you believe we'll see more of this after Title 42 ends?
Unfortunately, I fear we will. On the one hand, now that the midterm's over, I'm hoping that the political shenanigans will at least take a bit of a pause. But we saw it in the midterms in terms of how much was being spent on misinformation around immigration. I do think that you're going to see political leaders who want to continue to make this a wedge issue. What has been amazing, though, is that that's where the story, that's not where it ended, right? You actually saw communities in Martha's Vineyard and other places show the work of welcome alive and well in American communities. And I think that's the hope that I bring into the holiday season in terms of how we respond. Just the final point I'll make is this is where the administration does need to act. Immigration is a federal issue, and there does need to be a national system. You can't just have no infrastructure and hope that people get to the right place. So that's where I do think both Congress as well as the White House still need to step up.